just because you have an imagination. Dreams are dropped into the spirit of an individual because of a God that wants you to what? Elevate yourself to another level. There is something that lives in you that's been bothering you for years. But it's not that it's bothering you, it's been growing forever. And you can't tell the difference. And you're saying, why, oh why, do I have all this going on? It's because God had enough sense to try to protect the thing that He planted in you. So one day you would recognize that it's time to pay attention. See, Joseph was a young man with a couple of dreams. When we read this text, and I've read it a million times, I've seen the story a million times, I've learned it and all this other stuff, but for the first time, here comes the all points bulletin on what is really going on. In the text, Joseph just had 2 dreams. People mistakenly say he had 2 visions. A dream is not the full picture. It gives insight, but not necessarily foresight. Y'all got that? Insight, but not necessarily foresight. It gives you an inkling, but it does not necessarily give you the full manifestation. It gives you a taste, but not the whole meal. It's an appetizer into the full course of your destiny. It gives you a little bit, but I just noticed something in meditation. Not just that a dream is a seed, but there are some people that can see your dream and can see it in vision form. And then you will find out and discover who is really with you or against you. Let me walk this thing. Let me do this differently. Let me walk it a little bit. The text says Joseph went to his brothers the first time. He said, had a dream. We were getting the wheat together. My bale of wheat stood straight up, and all of y'all bowed down. The response of the brothers was this: we already hate you. We don't like you. What you thinking? You gonna rule us too? And the text says they hated him what? Even more. So he goes back to sleep another night. And he has what? Another dream. And it's about the sun, the moon, and the stars being subject to his star. And he tells his brothers, and he tells his father, who he must know will understand him, because his father was a trickster that always wanted to be on top anyway. Y'all missed that, and you know that his daddy was Jacob, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Jacob got to be the one with the inheritance by what? Means of deception. So if anybody would understand Joseph's plight, it should be his daddy. If anybody was going to understand anything about Joseph, who was chosen by his daddy as his favorite, it would be his daddy. And the one that gets to design this stuff while his brothers sit around with the hand-me-downs. If anybody was going to understand him, it should be his daddy. But when he told him the dream, his daddy said, what in the world are you talking about? All of a sudden it's going to be what? Your brothers? Me and your mama? Have you lost your mind? The brothers hate no more. But then there's an interesting part of the text that said that Jacob backed up and pondered it a minute. You see, being a dreamer is not easy. It is not for the soft and faint of heart. It is not for people that are overly sensitive about everybody's comments about them. It is not for those that are going to be so concerned and have what they call in sports rabbit ears about every comment that is made about them, their past, their present, or their future. They are so focused on what God has placed in them, nothing else matters. Joseph couldn't get support from his brother. Couldn't get initial endorsement from his daddy. He seemed like a man all by himself. But there's another little interesting thing that we'll return to by the end of the sermon. Joseph's name means adding. Or you can use another word that might be better. Adding is synonymous with another word, enhancement. So who named him? His daddy did. So his dad named him something that was going to set the track for his destiny. Even though he did not initially support him, the text saying that suddenly he sat back and pondered on it would suggest that it caused Jacob to think that what I have already done and said about my son may be on the verge of coming to pass. So you can sometimes, there's some folk that may jump out too quick to say no. But when they think about everything beforehand, they might think twice before they shut it off. Now, back to the dreamer. Here he is with two dreams and no support. Here he is seeing these things that God is placing in his mind and in his spirit, but it seems like there's nobody around to really support what's going on. Why in the world would Joseph still hold on to it? Because it's very simple. God allows us to go through some things to find out how much we really trust him. Some of us should shout better than we do in church. Because we shout when it's great. But we should shout louder when we're going through all types of hell and high water. Because if God can make it good for me when I'm on top, when I'm going through, I know that he's going to make it even better when I come out of the ladder. See, the difference is between those that fake it and those that want to make it is very simple. That my faith is not in my condition,